Welcome back to another SuperCoach video with me, JD. You were joining me for the round 9 review where I've scored a 23.362, which has dropped me around 700 places overall for the week. We'll go through trades from last week, what happened this week, bit of review, trades for next week, and all that, and then some. But before we jump into that, my keyboard has just died, which is not good. It makes it hard to type and do things. If you've got recommendations for silent keyboards, which I can buy and have shipped in the next week, please send me links. Full size would be preferred. Okay. All right, team itself. So what did we do last week? We used a boost. We had leftover money. We had Yo injured, so we boosted out Yo. We boosted out. Geez, who are my other trades? This is bad. We need a history tab. Give us some history. Trade history over here. What did we do? We traded out Yo, Powell, and Williams for Oliver, McKercher, and English. And look, the trades were okay. I think the thing I'm most annoyed about is like I've wanted Sarong for 2 weeks in a row, and things have prevented me both weeks from bringing him in. 2 weeks ago it was Fife being sub, so I brought in Baker, who then didn't play this week. So yeah, 60 into do not play to avoid the Fife sub score. I should have just got Sarong, obviously, in hindsight. Or even if this was like Moore or Rankin or someone, like this would have been okay, but nope, absolute disaster. And then yeah, this week I would have got him, except that with English needing to come in because Sweet missed meant I couldn't get Sarong again. So I missed him 2 weeks in a row, which is really, really frustrating. Because I think he's going to be too much for me to get this week just looking at trades. But McKercher coming back in was good, put up a 91, made 70k, and he's got a negative 10 break even still. So he's going to make a quick 100k and hopefully put some decent points on field. And then Oliver was okay. I mean, the 87 doesn't look particularly great. Watching him though, he looked, decent again. I thought, yeah, like I was pleased with what I saw. Carlton's obviously one of the harder matchups to score on. I think the biggest criticism of his game was there was a lot of handball receives for him. Like he was second out of the contest to receive it and then handball it on. And the handballs he was hitting were like ridiculous, some of them. But so good signs for his hand. But like you don't get style points in SuperCoach, unfortunately. They just count as uncontested handball. So he needs to be either at the furnace or kicking them long, or doing something for some extra points. But I think this is a fine pick. We're okay with all of the price, and if you don't have him, I think you can definitely still jump on him. Only went up 20k, 53 break even West Coast this week, and without Yo, that West Coast midfield is struggling a bit. Okay. Rest aside, so Ryan, yeah, he managed to scrape a 111 in a dead game after not scoring particularly well in the first half. The Clark tag was pretty effective, and then it was the Swans, right? They were just very accurate. So there was no behinds, nothing like that. It was just going straight over Ryan's head for the first half. Second half, he tried his heart out. No scaling on the line, but got to a 111. So we take those. Interesting number here. I mean, read into that what you will. I'm sure non-owners definitely associate him with some satanic figures. Or what's he at? 71 break even. I mean, he's too expensive. I think I said last week to people that were asking, like, he was the second most expensive player in the game. I think he probably still is. I think it's only Gorn that's more expensive. Oh, Sarong's gone past him. But like, I just don't think paying third most money for him makes sense. Bit hard though, because I got Saints this week, which love to give up points to defenders, and like if they play early in the round, which it doesn't look like they do, they play the Saturday night. But like this would have been a vice captain option for me if they played early for sure. But still, I'll have to have a look at the rest of the fixtures of what's going on there. Dacus was very good based on this score. I only caught really the second half of this game. And it seemed like he did a lot of his best work early. But yeah, 147, we like that. Martin was good, but when that game was on the line, the fourth didn't do a ton and was wasted a little bit. But this is fine, given what he's produced. Like, I'm okay with this. North this week, I think he'll do well there. Sheasel's definitely a concern, although he's dropped a fair bit of his money already. If he was still at 650, I think be very strong consideration for trading now. I'm not sure. He's probably overpriced, though, because he's playing more of that mid-half forward role. I haven't looked at CBAs. Let's just have a quick look. But, I mean, he's just not going to score as well in that role. It's just, absolute crazy role before. He will probably score okay in it, but in a team that's getting beat, probably not going to be amazing. Sheasel, so 45% and 29% CBAs the last couple of weeks, and it's reflected in his scoring. I'm guessing if we look at these kick-ins, it's not going to be good. Whoops. Very inefficient way of clicking through to that. Fisher, no. We'll talk about him soon. Very, very annoyed because I traded him because of the sub. I should still have him. I wanted to keep him as a forward. Oh, annoying. So McKercher 7. Yeah, I mean, it's a part of the reason why McKercher could trade in. And then, yeah, Sheasel, 0 kick-ins the last 2 weeks, hurting his score. So, yeah, this is a bit of a worry. And I think if I still had a boost, he'd probably be in consideration for being traded out this week. Although, with that said, every time I've boosted at a premium, it's almost always come back to bite me this year. So, maybe it's a good thing that I can't. Closey was great. Beat up on that North matchup. I was hoping Graham would do the same, but him being dropped was a surprise. Actually, my bench this week was a disaster with Baker being that laid out as well. I had to field Garcia straight, so a 65 was okay there. I had to field a lot of rookies this week. It was not good. Thankfully, I could avoid both Roberts and Clark and left their scores on the bench, but yeah, not good. And then Roberts got moved up into a wing in this game, so I know he took a kick in early, and then it just seemed like he played wing. And it's not a good role for him. I mean, he got 3 kick-ins still, but yeah, this is not good. Actually, Blakey took a lot. He's been playing okay, right? Yeah, I think he's always just going to be just sub-premium, though. 131. Had a 43 the week before. You can wait another week, especially against Carlton. But yeah, Roberts is probably someone that has to be traded now if you still hold him like me. I should have traded Roberts over Powell last week. That was definitely a blunder. So yeah, I thought Freo give up decent points to defenders, but he's not a defender anymore. He's a wing. So yeah, he's lost probably massive money the last 2 weeks. I don't know what his top price was, but this is not good. Oh, okay, he still made a little bit more. So just the 27k. But yeah, he's got to go this week. 124 break even. Not fieldable. Just he won't bounce back. It's just not good. Mids. All right. Bont ended up being the captain. I was flying back home on the Thursday night, and I thought I'd swap the VC to Butters, which I did in fantasy in Bolter, but apparently I didn't. So I had to take the seed Bont. I only lost 12 points there, which isn't too bad, but a little bit annoying. But yeah, Bont was good. Honestly thought he could score more against Tigers, but hey, is what it is. Merritt had a pretty poor game early against GWS. Yeah, just like butchered a bit and then played well again in the second half and kind of saved his score. Scraped in with a 101 there. Butters was amazing. He was everywhere. Surprised he didn't get any attention. Against the Hawks this week, I think he'd be a captain option. But the Hawks should be tagging him. I feel like he's very taggable and should be tagged. Dawson was great. Crom, just one of the most confusing sides I've ever seen. When he's in the middle and around the ball, good things happen, and when he is forward, nothing happens. And they keep putting him forward. That whole third quarter where Lions got back in it, they played Dawson forward, and then in the fourth quarter, they were playing him forward again. He finally gets up around the ball, and the 4 goals they kick were all as a direct result of either Dawson winning it himself or kicking it inside 50. Actually, I think 3 of the 4 that got them ahead, he kicked inside 50 himself. And so they kick the goal to go ahead, and the first thing they do is put him on the bench. Like, what is going on? Or then they move him forward. Like, it's just I don't get what they're doing here. I get that it's their midfield's now working better. They're rotating some of these other guys through. Rankin looks really good in there, and the way they've incorporated him into that midfield mix to make sure he's going in games, I think has really worked. Even though it's not huge CBAs, like he started at a CBA where they put Dawson forward. Oh, his CBAs is quite low. Yeah, this is problematic though, in a way. But yeah, good things were happening when Dawson was at the ball. They just didn't do it enough. I just don't get it. I don't get it. They deserve to leave that game just with some of the tactical decisions they made. Green was pretty good considering the ankle, and I'm sure he would have been playing with injections and a bit of pain. But yeah, bounced back well. Got the Dogs this week, which I think he can score reasonable against as well. Should be a higher stoppage team. And then Clary Yeah, already touched on Wilson. Back-to-back huge weeks now, so we're gonna have so much money between like Wilson and Darcy. If you still got Sharp, all had big weeks. So more points to give. A 126 and a 90 means he's got a 3 break even this week against Frio. I'd say he could score well, but given what Roberts did on a wing against them, maybe he won't. But these are also two of like, I mean, he's actually 3 really good scores now. He's 3-round average is like over 90. That's crazy. Where is it? 3-round average is 101. Darcy Wilson, Primo, would be absolutely insane. But yeah, everyone's got him. So like, when everyone's a super, no one is type deal. Same with Closey. Like everyone's got these two on the field. Darcy, I think, is a little bit unique, but yeah. And then Garcia, I thought had a pretty good game as well. Like I think he might be able to hold based on what he produced. Did some good stuff around goal. He kicked. I think he kicked a nice goal himself, right? He had another one that he should have got, which he didn't. Had some nice assists. So I think this is probably the best game he had since maybe his debut game where he was the sub on. So I think he holds a spot, but I actually don't know what the injury list looks like. I don't want him on field. Like I'm pretty happy with my 65, but yeah, I don't want him on field. It was an easier matchup, so a lot of the Saints bounced back. And like Marshall, not having him in my side for the last 2 weeks. Steele, last 2 weeks. Steele's strapping went away. Far out. Oh, bad sideways trades. Bad. This is why we don't sideways trades. They're like a reminder and lesson that holds is gold. But Marshall set like a record for contested possessions for the Saints on the weekend. Like how? Bro, how? Oh, so frustrating. And if Sweet had scored worse, I wouldn't have traded Marshall. And then he was out and cost me Sarong as well. Like Sweet has cost me. Oh, that's all right. The bad luck happens. We just cop it and we move on. All right. So yeah, Graham. I don't know see how he gets a spot back. I was really hoping for that last game, but at the same time, it's hard to trade him because he's got a break even of 12. So maybe just hold and hope on him. Clark kind of returned back to what we expected. He's still got a really low break even because of the 78 in there. Just hoping that he holds and gets another game against TIO. Maybe a little bit more of a tackle fest that he could potentially bounce back. And then Kane, even with Baker out, I still don't think he was an emergency. So that's not a good sign. They had 3 more injuries, and I still don't think he'll play. So I think he's just going to be perma loop for me for the year, unless he like has played really well in the VFL the last 2 weeks. But honestly, haven't checked his numbers. Gorn was okay. English I thought was better than this 87, but they had so many points to give around to the Dogs that like it had to come off someone. I guess he just had a lot of sharked hitouts, which without Libber there probably makes sense. But yeah, like he'll be fine against GWS this week, and Briggs is usually pretty easy ruck to score on, so he should bounce back fine. I don't know what his track record against them's like, but I assume it's actually pretty decent. 163, 124, 110 last 3. So yeah, that's pretty good. Good track record against the Swans, but obviously Grundy there now. And then Pies. Okay. All right. Forward line. Yeah, Heaney is good. Flanders is good. We don't need to talk about them. Everyone's got them and they do well each week. If you don't have them, yeah, you can get them. Reed is one that probably needs to be talked about because he's 147 rolls out of the system and he's got back-to-back like sub 60s, back-to-back 59s in there now. So he's 443k, made 236k for the year, but it's probably time to trade him out, I would say. Because he's going to start losing mega cash. So 134 break even, same boat as Roberts for me, where like if I don't trade them now, they just start losing lots of cash. Fife had the 60, was like an okay game, neither here nor there. He's losing money. Saints this week should be good. Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah, this spot hurts a lot. Like Baker and Fife hurt a lot this week because there were people that had like Rankin, Moore, Zorko types, and I've got like a donut or like which was like rookie covered by Garcia effectively, and Fife. So like yeah, losing out pretty big points this week. I think in those 2 spots alone. No Sarong when I should have had him also hurt. Rest of the team, like, was okay. I'm actually surprised I lost maybe as many ranks as I did. I don't feel like the team was that bad. But I guess, like, if people have got Meek over English here, or, like, they've kept Marshall, that's mega points. Steele obviously had a good week as well. Yeah, a few spots here and there. Okay. Darcy scored the 113, so great. I mean, I think I don't know how many times I'd flagged that Richmond game and like wanting to keep him for that, but we finally got it. These next two matchups look much tougher, so I have a feeling that he probably only lasts in the side 2 more games. And then we'll cash him out around that time of that first buy. He will have made 250k. So it's been a mega pick, honestly, mega pick. Would have been great if you got that ruck DPV because I would have just played him at R2 this week rather than getting English, and I'd have Sarong and I'd have an extra 63 points. And then yeah, Dempsey was okay. I don't know where his break even's at. He's made 150k. His break even's 41. That's all right. He's gonna keep getting games. I'm happy just to like let him sit there for now. He's got Richmond in 3 weeks, so like I kind of want to hold for that. Hopefully he can just like get through these next games and then play Richmond, score all the points. Okay, so what do we do with the team this week? Let's have a look. We've got, how many rookies we got left? I guess McKercher, he's more mid-price now than a rookie, but yeah, Closey, McKercher, Wilson, Garcia, and Reed and Darcy. So 6 still. Lots of trades to get 6 upgrades done, and I've got 210k in the bank, obviously. But we've got to make some moves here because all this stuffing around the last couple of weeks, I feel like I am a primo or two behind. And there's a few good options this week with good runs, so I've got to work through those. Before we jump into that, I'll also just have a look at some downgrade options too, just see what these break-evens look like. Less than 3 games. We'll go some break-evens. All right, so Sullivan is the obvious one, the mature age rookie. Came on as a sub and scored like a 71, I think. Nope, 75, and then played a full game and scored another 75. It was against West Coast, but, you know, whatever. I think he is someone that we could definitely look at this week. 102k is like that basement price, mid, should get games. Although it would be interesting to see what happens this week, because they've got DeGoey and Mitchell both coming back, and then potentially McCreary might come back. So they might have 3 returns this week. But you know, there's a few that could go out, I guess. Like, so we'll just see how they manage that and what the Pies do. But Sullivan's the biggest downgrade option this week. Beyond that, I don't really love what I see here. So Richards, you can wait another week on. Scored the 107, looked good, but yeah, just wait another week. And then Bruce here, so mid forward, DP's handy. He's looked, I think, good when he's been on ground the last 2 weeks. The problem is he's had very low time on ground, including that game where the Lions were missing half their squad. They only had like 2 on the bench, and I still think he only managed like low 60s tog. I think he was something like that again this week. So scoring, like his points per minute, I'm sure have been decent, which I'm sure is in here somewhere. But yeah, it's just like low tog rookies are death because you just need one bad game and then it's all over. It does play Richmond this week though, so that's good. That should help. They give up lots of points. So, and then Hawks the week after. Brisbane's run is nasty. All right, so maybe Bruce, especially if you already got Sullivan. All right, they're kind of the options this week for sure. All right, now if we get off the filter for less than 3 games played, we look at some of the bigger boys. Maybe we'll take out all these cheapies. Go up to like 300k. What have we got up here? So we've got Harms, who had like a 4-goal game. I don't think that's repeatable. Fisher, who has shined at halfback the last 2 weeks with Sheasel, and like obviously why I didn't want to trade him, but like look, sub game had to trade him out, and then they moved Sheasel out finally, which is what I've been waiting for, and the big scores come. So is he a keeper from here, I guess, is the difficult question, because it feels like you probably want to grab him this week if he is. It's only 6k more than what he started at. Essendon this week, which I believe is one of the harder matchups. We'll see. Like top half, but you know, not crazy hard. And then I think Port's are definitely a harder matchup as well. Then you got West Coast after that. So yeah, so Fisher I think is potentially an option this week. McKercher, who like could you still jump on him this week? Probably. I guess like he's probably a better option than Fisher. The difference is that Fisher can be kept as a forward. Windsor for anyone that's held him, I don't know why you would have, but you've been rewarded very heavily. He's been great the last couple of weeks. Wilson, which we've talked about. Pendles has had like 3 really good games. Like Crisp's been good as well, but yeah. Sharp for holders is still making money. That's very nice. Fieldable option. Rowan Marshall's beat is 28. Oh, don't. What a dog. Dog. Bonner had a very good week last week as well. Okay, there's nothing too much in here. Okay. So, yeah, Sullivan, I think if you're looking for a downgrade option this week, if you want to play risky, you're probably looking at a McKercher or a Fisher as that mid-range target. And then we've got to start talking about some premium trading options as well. So, the mid targets are the ones I don't have that I like is Sarong. He's got that good buy. Saints shouldn't be too hard to score on. It's just really frustrating that he's now 670k. This is very expensive when I should have got him 2 weeks ago at 621k. Painful. All right. I've got two mid spots open. So the other ones that are interesting is Raul. He's had two poorer games in a row now, 83 and 65. So he's got a 192 break even. He's already sub 600. So he's a really interesting trade in option for me. Carlton the week after this as well. So like just a really tough run of games here. I mean, North not so much, but they got beat up by Brisbane. Yeah, Geelong and Carlton. Even Essendon's been tricky to score on, and then I think their fixture opens up a little bit more from that point on. So yeah, he's one that I've got an eye on. And the other one that I guess is interesting and worth talking about is probably Petrarca, who really only scored well on the back of 4 goals, 5 goals. He carried that side over the line. Looked really, really good. But yeah, obviously found a bit of form, and he was getting attention, and it was against a side that's usually hard to score on. West Coast easy to score on, and like forward of ball should get lots of it. I could see like a pretty big score being dropped this week, but he may take it easier if Melbourne get up as well. I could see that kind of going both ways. He likes the close game, the crunch time scaling. So yeah, Petrarca I think is a pretty interesting option this week because 555k he's probably close to bottomed out. In defense, Stewart was the one that we've all had an eye on for a while. He's now at 501k, which is crazy, and 97 break even, and against Gold Coast, which I think you might be able to score right on. Although it is at TIO, which is a pretty rough stadium in terms of dewiness of the ball and all that type of stuff. And I think if I didn't have Roberts and who's the other one I've got to trade this week? Reed to trade. Like Sheasel down to a Stewart to free up money to like upgrade one of those guys. Like I could totally see myself being interested in that, but yeah, I like the 84 wasn't convincing. I think he played all right though. So happy to wait and watch another one. 167 last time he played them, but yeah, not at TO in the slot. So Stewart's probably another wait a week, just in terms of options, and like he'd fit in there pretty easily at D6. Yeah, Oliver we spoke about as a mid option as well. I'm sure there's another defender option that's good, which I haven't like. It's just not coming to mind as well. Oh, Houston, that's right. Because Houston's got the good buy as well. So he's like two worst games for around the last 2 years. He broke his ton run, a 93 and an 89. He's at 581k, so still pretty expensive, and obviously been a great pick for the year. Against the Hawks, where, with him moving up into the midfield, I think he could be pretty dangerous, even though the Hawks found a bit of form. So not owning him coming into this week, a little bit scary, and then North the week after. So I don't mind Houston as an option here. But probably with, what's his break even? 149. So like I'm just going to wait on that, even though he could beat that against the Hawks. McGovern, for anyone holding, really unlucky because he was on for a big one again. Hopefully, like there's a chance that he could play this week, depending on what the injury is, I guess. So maybe you can just hold. Otherwise, he might be a trade. Whitfield is also really cheap now, 514k, 139 break even, so high break even. But he got tagged. Well, he's been getting attention the last couple of weeks, and it's been effective. So Guelphy put a little bit of effort into him, but like a lot of contested ball, and then Jordan tagged him the week before that. And so, yeah, like this defensive effort's been really effective, which it does scare me because obviously like other teams seeing that might do the same. But like I'd be lying if I wasn't interested in Whitfield as an option as well. I know those that own him in the Discord have like hated owning him, the roller coaster that has been Whitfield, but I could see myself waiting another week. So Stewart, Whitfield, Houston, I like all three of those as options. I'd probably happy waiting another week on all of them though, just to see how they go. So probably won't be looking there. Yeah, in the midfield, Petrarca I think is probably a buy this week if you want to jump on. Then Raul, I'd wait on for him to price drop, and then Sarong is the other one I'm interested in. Oh, if you don't have Butters, I still think you can go Butters as well. But once again, like I wouldn't be surprised if there was tag talk this week for him. Rucks, I mean Rowan Marshall's the cheap one, but I think these are probably R1 and R2 for the year. And then in the forward line, this is where interesting options are putting their hand up. So Zorko clearly has that roll back again, and they play the Richmond this week, which he should absolutely dominate from a scoring perspective. All the flags on him, though, that we've had before are still there, which is he's 35, 35, I think. Soft tissue injury history, even though he had a good preseason, and he's obviously been fine so far this year. And he's got some role uncertainty in the sense that, like, 3 games ago, they fluffed around with his role. So, yeah, like, these are all, like, worrying stuff. But on the positive, Richmond, Hawks, Bulldogs, all teams he should be able to score well against the next 3. Like, it's only 2 into the bye, so Richmond, Hawks, and the bye. So I don't think he gets rested. And obviously, Lions need wins. So I don't think you're in a place to rest him or muck around with that like other teams are with some of their senior guys. And then Rankin was huge today. And once again, talk about that mid-mix just to make sure he's involved and then pressing forward. Pies have definitely given up some decent scores. So 142, which is season high for the week last week, went up 30k. He's at 530 now and a 65 break even. I know a few jumped on him a handful of weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he's obviously been really good. His last 3 average must be in the 110s. So it kind of feels like I've missed the boat if I jump on here and I'm setting myself up to get his poor scores. But yeah, Pies, West Coast, Hawks, Richmond in the next 4, then Swans, then the bye. Last bye. This is like a pretty attractive fixture here for Rankin. So I like him as an option 2. And then Moore is probably like the other one. But he had a poorer score at 550k. I think the other 2 probably present better value than Dill Moore. Port, tougher matchup. Brisbane, Adelaide, fixture's not nearly as good as those other 2. So I think I'd be looking there. Now, important for this week to consider as well is looking at those buy structures. So we are 2 weeks away from buys. So this would be my round 12 here. I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, look at all these people playing. But like, if Reed, Graham, McAuliffe, probably Clark aren't playing, this is a concern. Dempsey doesn't score many points. Neither does Livingston. But like, that's 6, 8. We're missing probably none there. So let's call it 16 and then 20. Reed should be back, actually, 21. He had 25 touches and 10 marks in the VFL. So I think there's a decent chance he returns this week for Laverde out, but we'll see. So this is fine. This looks okay. Round 13, this is the easy buy. No point even counting it. This is why I like Sarong and Houston in. Works pretty well because you can definitely take them through this buy. Round 14, this is getting a little bit tougher here. So 4, could be gone, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this buy needs some work. That is a low number. Round 14. And then round 15 looks probably pretty fine, to be honest. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say we've got one of those 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right. Last buy is not great, but we can trade around them once we get into it. Having a few more missing from round 14 and 15 and then being able to trade out of them into 12 and 13 is okay. Players like maybe like Dunkley, who's had a poorer game on the weekend. He's went okay from a fantasy perspective. Actually, he'll be fine with the Richmond Hawks fixture. I'm sure he'll go big. It does make it a little bit hard, though, because like round 14 was my tough one. So that's like Rao, Petrarca. That makes it pretty hard to jump into those types. That was one of my worst ones. And round 15 is not great either. But Darcy's probably gone by then. Okay. All right, let's talk about some trades this week. We'll go vice captain, captain, and done. All right, so I think I would love to trade like a Sheasel down and put someone up. But like I've been burnt too many times by sideways and mucking around with premiums this year. So I think let's just keep upgrading. If Sheasel's not a keeper, I'll figure that out during the buys. But I can handle that early buy at the moment anyway, so it's a like reasonably good spot for me. And yeah, I think I want Reed to go out as well. So I've now got $1 million here. That's a fair bit. And obviously doing something like bringing in Sullivan and then Sarong and banking like 300k is probably not great. So what are the options here? I mean, I think like we can talk about Zorko. Oh no, I can see what my trades are already. Oh, this is bad. It's probably like Fisher, um, which is like not smart, right? That has to be a bad trade. This has to be bad, doesn't it? There's no way Fisher's actually a keeper. So in the forwards, we've got Heaney, Flanders. We've probably got Zorko, Ranking. That's like 4. And then I'd have like Baker, Fisher, and Fife. Assuming I get Rankin. Otherwise, I got 6 at the moment. This is pretty bad. This is surely bad. Yucky. So ideally what this would be is something like this in Sarong. But now he scored it so well the last 2 weeks. He was 668k. Yeah, we're just off. So if I want to get in like a Sarong, I'd be paying up by going something like a Sullivan. Probably doesn't make sense. So what are the other options here? It's 104. I could go like 500k guys, but that's probably leaves me like like Rankin would be too much, right? 527. So I could go like Rankin and like Whitfield. Nope, not Whitfield. It'd be Stewart. This looks pretty scuffed, but like let's just quit. Let's just try it on. Try it on for size. See what happens. Hit some optimize. Yep, you've optimized it. Great. Look, this doesn't look too bad. Like Wilson, Darcy, Closey, kind of like the 3 rookies, and you got McKercher there too. But I just don't look at the names, like Stewart there, Rankin there. Otherwise, it's Zorko and Fisher, or it'd be like Sarong and a rookie. Are any of these good options? I don't even know how those ones actually go for buy structure as well. They wouldn't change that. They wouldn't change that. Round 14. Stewart is round 14, and then round 15 is Rankin. A lot of forwards are missing, but like Wilson and Darcy won't still be there by then. Not sure about that. Okay, well there you go. Those are my trades of the week. Like this is the problem with carrying bank because I think this is a really nice week for if I had like Reed and Roberts to go like Sullivan and Sarong bank a little cash for next week. But I think doing that and going up to 300k is problematic. Unless I think the 300k gives me a double upgrade next week. I don't know, I have to have a look at that. And like doing a double upgrade just before buys feels weird as well. And I also don't want to be another premium down. So do I go Stewart and Rankin? Oh, I actually have a feeling that like going the rookie's the right move. Might depend on how some of these oh no, I have to decide Thursday night because cats are up first, right? But I don't want to because I want to see like what Clark and Dempsey score because once they score I'll kind of get a feel for like what I can do on the field. I guess I could still go like Fisher over Stewart, save some money for next week. But I think it might be Sullivan. All right. Sorry, the thought process is probably feeling pretty weird now. All right, so vice captain, captain. Let's wrap this up because we're carrying on. Dacos has been pretty hot the last few weeks, and the Crows have definitely been giving up points. I don't have a tagger through the midfield anymore. I mean, like Sligo could potentially give him attention, but yeah, like he's last 3 is 142, so he's pretty like going very well from that perspective. Scored a 132 last time they played, so yeah, I think he's an option. We've got Essendon against North, so like I think Merritt would have to be considered. Now, one flag here is that he has been tagged playing against North before. I think it was this 96. He went forward and kicked goals to kind of save his score. Maybe it was the 137 where he did that. I cannot remember. But yeah, that's probably the one flag on Merritt that he might get tagged. Like, would be a really good vice captain option, but they are playing Sunday early, which is a struggle. Bont against GWS. He probably has all right history, but I'm not like drawn to this matchup. Yeah, he's got a 164 in there, and like obviously the Dogs GWS beef is pretty interesting. Green, he's got a good track record, but I wouldn't go there. Butters, as I mentioned, like his history's not great against Hawks, and I think he's a tag target. I mean, I know Finn hasn't been doing hard tags, but I think that's a concern with going him. I guess you could go Merritt into Butters. double high risk there, but this is only 2 hour 10 difference between these games, which means you would be making that decision early, which is always a bit scary. Ever Reliable Gorn is coming up against BJ Williams this week, right? Still don't think Flynn's back. I think that's not until after the bye. His track record against the West Coast is not great though. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a concern. And that's the last game. That's your captain. Ugh. English, as I mentioned, against GWS, like Briggs gives up points, so I think he's potentially a very viable option as a VC or C this week. He plays earlier as well. Actually, he's probably the earliest option for a vice captain. And then Brisbane. So if you've got like a Dunkley, a Neil, maybe even a Zorko, they're all vice captain options as well. Sarong against Saints. I don't know what his track record's like. Let's have a look. But I assume decent. Nope, it is terrible against the Saints. Wow. What happened in round one last year? Was he returning from something? Nope. Interesting. Interesting. I guess like Saints are a low stoppage team, but I don't know. It doesn't really explain that. And who's playing Saints this week? Oh, Freo. So Brian, of course, is an option as well. So maybe the play this week. Has he got a good track record? Oh, he went 171 against. Oh, that was what was it? 2023. That was first game last year. Okay, so let us go vice captain Ryan into C English. Oh no, English plays first. So maybe it's vice captain Ryan into like C Merritt or Butters. Or maybe it's vice captain English into C Ryan. Well, that could backfire. Like Ryan, despite their high average, I don't trust. But I want to get him involved this week with that St Kilda matchup. Okay, I think that gives you an idea for trades I'm looking at this week. Vice captain, rookie downgrade, who I'd be jumping on if I could, and like yeah, honestly, I still might. Maybe I hold like a Reed or something like that. Pretty hard to do though into Melbourne with a 147 break even. Roberts, like there's no way I can hold at all. So yeah, even though like Wings have scored okay against Carlton though, but not like 124 good, and obviously he's better as a defender. There's no way I can hold right. All right. Anyway, I'll stop my ramblings there. I hope you had a good week. If you do have those keyboard suggestions for me, please hit me up below because I'm desperate for a new one. And if you got any questions, I'll try and get to them this week. But it's going to be hard without a keyboard. I'm not going to lie. I try from my phone, but it's tricky. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you in the next one as always. Hope you've had a good week. Peace.